I'm gonna go ahead and turn my background music off. And hopefully you guys will be able to hear VR chat just fine. This is a video about dark patterns. If y'all play mobile games, if y'all play mobile games, this is a good. You need to watch this video with me. I play mobile games, but I'm like completely numb to the psychological like tactics that they try to use on you. Oh wow, it's 16 minutes long. Okay. That's just a guy. Yeah. Well, he has some interesting things to say.
Carried a laptop 6 kilometers through the bush just to log into a game and keep a daily login streak alive. That's not fun. That's not entertainment. That's
no,
a
it's
dark
not.
pattern. Hi, I'm Chris Wilson. In this video, I want to show you how some modern games manipulate your schedule, your wallet.
I'm not immune to propaganda.
You may have heard the term dark pattern before. It refers to a design.
Hold on. So I'm not immune to propaganda, but I am immune to gacha games. I went from so if you guys want to know about my history with gacha games, here we go. It's a long one. I've been playing gacha games since Puzzles and Dragons. If you know what that game is, you know I'm a fucking boomer. I played there was a period in my life where every time a new gacha game came out, I played it. My favorite one ever is Monster Strike. It's still popular in Japan. It's dead in global. Why? Because the publisher's freaking stupid. It is like still the number 1, number 2 like gacha game in Japan. It is that fun. It is just a pinball game, basically. Oh, you gacha Gamba addicts. Yeah, so the thing is that with gacha games, I used to like play so many that it became kind of a problem. Raven can attest to this. There was a point where I told them like, yeah, so I'm playing like 5 gacha games at once. I just have them all open on my computer, and I'm just like literally like just like and then I started to whittle it down in like the last few years to like 2, and now it's like I kind of just play Stella Sora, and I don't even really like care about that. I could quit it right now. In the last few years, it used to be that I only bought like the monthly pass or something because like you could predictably like get units at a certain rate, and then I stopped buying the monthly passes, stopped buying the battle passes, and now if a game isn't fun free for me, I just don't want to play it. But that's the thing, is that most people not like that.
That deliberately manipulates user behavior.
Let me know if the volume's okay, by the way.
To spend money or engage more than they intended. A classic example is a hotel site flashing scarcity cues like only 1 room left, 4 people are booking right now.
Wow, Honkai 3rd, that's really based.
See services that are easy to sign up for but hard to cancel.
Mm-hmm.
Confirm shaming buttons that say I'd rather pay full price.
I think those are so stupid.
Like shipping insurance being automatically added to your shopping cart.
If a button says, "Oh no, you're gonna uninstall me," I'm just like, yeah, exactly, that's right.
Dark patterns like these are increasingly common, to the point where regulators and consumer groups are starting to push back. Today I want to talk about a less discussed form of dark patterns, and that's their use in the games that we play and make. Given how much money is made by the games industry, it's no surprise that some developers are applying psychological principles to the reward systems of their games to manipulate players into engaging more. In this video,
if you guys were watching me play Sonic Rumble, you probably heard me like touch on that little bit of like what he just said, psychological tactics. So one of the things you probably saw in Sonic Rumbles, and it's okay that they do this because every gacha game does this, every mobile game does this. If you're a mobile game or you're a mobile game publisher and you don't do this, you're actually just dumb. There's always the very first purchase that they try to push onto you. It's the best purchase you will ever make in that game because it's like 1,000% value, 800% value. For Diablo Immortal investors, 800% value is the meme. But it always costs like $1, 50 cents, 30 cents. I think in Rumble it was like 33 cents or something. It was like basically like a negligible amount of money, an amount of money you could drop on the ground, and like if you didn't notice it, you probably would never notice it like for the rest of your day, for the rest of your life, that you dropped like this amount of money on the ground, right? And the reason for that exists because once you have your credit card details on your Google account, your Apple account, whatever, once you have that there, well, then your next purchase is easier. But you already spent $1. You already had to put your credit card in. Now you can just hit buy, and then boom, $5, $10, $20, $30, $100, $1,000. And then now you have sunk cost fallacy once you've done that.
I'm not talking about gameplay systems that are intentionally addictive or immersive. That's
Money is
part of
almost
the
meant to be
entertainment you
spent.
signed up for. I'm talking about the meta systems. Monetization tricks,
Kind of.
retention loops, psychological hooks, and UI traps.
Genshin really burned. Yeah, Genshin kind of burned me too. It really burnt me out.
Another way to look at this is, if a developer focuses on making a game as compelling as it possibly can be, and it ends up really fun, interesting, and makes players want to play it again and again, then that developer won't need to rely on manipulative psychological tricks to artificially improve their metrics.
How many developers make good games like that
preamble.
nowadays?
Let's get into some dark patterns. So, like with non-game products, user interface dark patterns are common. For example, some mobile games ask you to rate them out of 5 stars. If you pick 5, you're sent straight to the App Store to leave a review. Anything less sends you to a developer feedback form instead. This quietly biases actual reviews towards higher ratings by making lower scoring reviews harder to leave.
So, before I started VTubing, I mostly used Android, right? But now I have an iPhone. Every time I use an app for a little while, at some point it'll be like, please rate our app 5 stars. And then the review will go straight to the App Store, right? I've noticed if I rate an app 5 stars, it's like, okay, cool. Thanks. Bye. But if I hit 1 star, because the app is genuinely trash, it asks me why. And I'm just like, I don't have time for this. So I've literally done this. I've literally done what he's described. And I've reached the point where I'm like, yeah, I won't bother. Because, like, your app is garbage. I don't want to rate it. I don't know if that
Another
happens on
example of a user
Android
interface
apps, but
dark
I'm pretty sure
is a game
like,
that
something
allows you to
similar
spend
happens.
real money to level up gems that can be socketed into your gear.
Oh my god, he's
Players
talking
might
about
find that
Diablo
once they've
Immortal.
completely maxed out a gem at great expense, more sockets appear, requiring them to spend more money than they initially intended to completely max out their character. This moving of the goalposts could potentially manipulate players into thinking they were going to complete their character for one price when it actually costs a lot more. They may not have committed to.
You guys are gonna hate me. I have so much to say about this topic. Okay, so what he's just talking about is, okay, so Diablo Immortal does this, a lot of games do this. The game I spent the most amount of time playing that does this is Black Desert Online. If you guys have ever played other MMOs, Black Desert Online, that's basically the whole game. You know that they're going to do this. It's not hidden in any way. This is the way the game develops. And to a degree, that's okay, because, so imagine that this, like, between my hands is the goalpost, right? You start here, you end here. And then after an update, this goalpost moves a little bit. So now you have to end here. But the way BDO is designed is that whenever they move this goalpost, they also move this goalpost, right? And most games do this, but like for BDO, it's always a constant distance of like development. But for Diablo Immortal, they move this goalpost over here, and then this one goes a little bit backwards. and then the players decide to call it investing. If you ever play a gacha game, do not elude yourself. Do not call it investing. You are throwing away your money.
Spending as much if they knew that from the start. Dark patterns in games extend
You're looking at
far
Chris
beyond
Wilson.
just deceptive user interfaces, though. They're typically categorized as temporal, social, psychological, and monetary dark patterns. I've put some links to some of my references that have comprehensive
Pretty pictures
lists
on
in the
my
video
phone.
description.
Sleepless, I'll
But
send
I'll
you
go
pretty
through a few
pictures
of
for
the
free.
major
How about
ones
that? Or you know
right
what
now.
you can do? You just look in the mirror.
Before we get started, I should note that pretty much any mechanism that tries to manipulate a change in user behavior is considered a dark pattern in games, but the severity varies a lot. Some of them are much more mild than others, and a lot of different opinions about which of them are harmless and which are going too far. I'll weigh in with my personal feelings about this later in the video. Many live service games have daily login rewards. In behavioral psychology, when an action is followed by a reward, your brain learns to repeat it. Every day that you log in and receive this reward, you'll get a hit of dopamine, building a habit over time. Players who are conditioned to logging in every day do it not because they're excited to play, but because it feels like brushing their teeth, just something they have to do. Some games have login streaks. This is where the rewards escalate for each sequential day you log in. When you break the streak, your rewards reset back down to the minimum level. Now, humans have a strong sense of loss aversion.
Okay, we'll talk about the daily logins in a second. But what he was talking about with the like, it starts to feel like something you just normally do. That's what the monthly pass was in most games for me was. I mostly played for the tail end of like my main like I played a lot of gacha games like career. I would always buy the monthly pass once I was like, yeah, I like this game. That's $5. That's only $5, right? Only $5. You can't even buy a Subway sandwich for $5 anymore. But here's the thing: is that I would always do it. So every month, Hoyo would get $5 for every one of their games I played. At some point, I was playing Star Rail, I was playing ZZZ, and here and there I would play Genshin just because, you know, I like Kokoko. But once I realized that, oh wow, I'm giving them like the equivalent of like my Final Fantasy subscription every month for like, what, 20 rolls in the gacha, like that seems crazy to me. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing like you need to not let that kind of shit get normalized for you, because fucking gacha games, like, I love gacha games. I love them because they're games that have constant updates. They have pretty characters, and some of them are legitimately fun. But if they disappeared from the face of the earth right now, I think the world would be a better place. I'm just saying.
Where losses feel roughly twice as bad as gains feel good, and hence players will go significantly out of their way to avoid breaking these streaks. As I mentioned before, I have a friend
if I
who was
ever
on
break a
off-the-grid
daily
camping
login,
and had to
I
walk
usually
6
just stop playing the
kilometers
game.
with his laptop and a 3G modem so he could keep a login streak going in some random game he was playing.
I've seen people do this.
There are even games out there that let you pay real money to restore a broken streak. In addition to daily login bonuses, many games have daily
Feels like
tasks
unnecessary
or challenges
chores
which
to me,
reset every
using
24
yeah,
hours.
exactly.
Players feel obliged
Some of those
to
games
complete
they
these
start to
so
feel
that
like
the
chores.
easy rewards don't go to waste. They don't want to miss out on cheap progress that everyone else is getting.
Mm-hmm.
Some games rely on dark patterns rooted in social obligation to manipulate you into behaving differently. For example, it's common for mobile base builder games to have guilds or clans where daily participation, like doing quests or donating
Let's talk about guilds. Let's talk about them. So, the game that I'm going to touch on now is called Grand Blue Fantasy. If you've heard of this game, you know it's freaking huge. You've probably seen at least a Relink or Grand Blue Versus, whatever it's called, and those games are great. But those games are built on an existing IP that's just a browser game. This game is like old. It's like over 10 years old at this point. And there was always a running gag that during Unite and Fight, which is basically guild versus guild, uses a kind of like tournament ranking style system, and then if you like ranked very highly, you got lots of rewards and stuff. Like your guild doing well in this event was kind of like pivotal to whether or not you as a player could grow, because if you got good rewards, you got things like Damascus bars, you got lots of gems to roll for characters and things like that, and you got like upgrade materials that, like, you know, you would normally like spend lots of time farming. The joke was in Grand Blue Fantasy that the upper tier rankings were rigged by the Yakuza. This is not a joke. This is what people legitimately thought. And like to a degree it was kind of memes, but like also people would bet on it. Like real money betting. And this game is insane. Like I think this still happens, but it's, you know, GBF isn't as popular nowadays because, like I said, it's a browser game. It's a freaking old browser game. But okay, so, and the reason why I'm talking about this is because most bigger guilds would be like, oh yeah, you have to do this many points per day, and like sometimes the amount of points is like, oh, maybe you can do it in like 30 minutes to an hour, and that's not so bad because, you know, you're gonna play the game anyways, right? But some guilds required you to have a team that was ridiculously like cracked out, like pay to win weapons and everything in them, and then you would have to have like all the right characters, which means you rolled for them, and if you're unlucky, that might mean you would have like sparked 3 or 4 times minimum, because most of the good characters, they're from the special banners that you have to spend lots of money on. So you have the pay to win weapons, you have the super good characters, and then this is the best part. You, as the whale, get to spend 24 hours grinding all day. Yeah, you're not doing that without a bot, are you? Yeah. So you have all this financial commitment, time commitment to play this fucking browser game. My god.
Sources is
Obviously,
important
I
for your
never
guild
did
to
that.
succeed. If you don't log in each day and perform these actions, you let your friends down.
Yeah, no
which
thank. I'm
causes
also
guilt and
good.
social
No,
pressure for you
no,
to be
thank
active
you.
daily. This dark pattern can exploit and strain our friendships, especially when the game is
And they
tuned to
did.
make daily
They did.
participation essentially mandatory. Other games
Imagine
feature
getting kicked out of your
gifting
friend
between
group because you
players,
can't do
where
points in a
reciprocation of
browser
gifts is
game.
rewarded with extra bonuses. This taps into reciprocity pressure to cause you to feel the need to log in daily and return gifts to people. Some games have refer a friend bonuses, or even outright pyramid schemes, where you make faster progress
Yeah.
if you have recruited
I've
an
seen those.
extensive network
I've seen
of friends
those.
to join the game and play with you. Time-gated tasks, or playing by appointment, are when a game tells you have to come back at a specific time or face consequences. Popularized by farming games where your crop
What he just said, you have to come back at a specific time. I will never play those games. I have never played those games because I cannot be fucked to open a game at a specific time to get my stupid crops. And I swear to God, Hilda, if you send me another Farmville request on Facebook, I'm coming to your house. Also, on the subject of things I will never do, if you download a mobile game and you see that it has a VIP system inside the game, I don't know why I'm like doing this motion with my hand. I'm holding a phone and I'm pointing at it. If it has a VIP system, just uninstall it. Don't bother. If it has a VIP system, just uninstall it. Don't look at it. Don't do anything with it. Just uninstall the game. If it has a VIP system, just get rid of it. If it has this come back at a certain time thing, just get rid of that too. In fact, the only game you should install on your phone is probably Balatro.
crops would wither and die if not harvested at the right time, the game forces control of your schedule, sometimes making you wake up in the middle of the night to click buttons or lose your investment. Contemporary mobile games often have timers and energy mechanics, where your ability to progress the game is blocked until you come back when these resources have regenerated. While this is less...
First of all, if this isn't transformative, I don't know what the fuck is. Stamina. Okay, I'm playing Stellasora right now. I really like Stellasora. Okay, look, Shia makes me happy. That's the only justification I need for Shia. Ah yes, real swap game, fake cam edition. No, honestly, you'd probably be better off just going to a real casino. But okay, so Stellasora is a fantastic game. It's very fun. It's a very enjoyable game. But good God, do I fucking hate how I have to like sit there and wait for an entire day to maybe upgrade my character tomorrow. I upgraded the new character Fuyuka today. She's level 80 now, so she has one more upgrade before I can bring her to level 90, which is the max level, right? I don't think I will be able to upgrade her to 90 in the next 24 hours, and that look, okay, that annoys the absolute shit out of me. Yostar, if you're listening, please give me more materials. I would just like to play the fucking game. Okay, that's it. Look, I get stamina systems. You know, it makes me keep coming back, and that's fine. I don't mind that. I just want it to be at a better pace. Okay.
harsh than your crops being completely lost, you'll feel pressure to come back at exactly the right time to maximize your rate of progress. When you're not the one deciding when you play the game, but instead having the game decide for you, it's worth questioning your entire relationship with that game.
Exactly.
Some live service games create artificial scarcity for their store items. As entirely digital purchases, there's no physical requirement to limit the number of people who can purchase something, but doing so often causes it to sell much faster due to players fearing they're going to miss out. This pattern is similar to the one employed in gacha games, where they often have certain characters available for purchase only occasionally, causing a frenzy
Every
of
gacha
activity
game.
when they are.
Every gacha game does
Not only
this.
does this cause more sales, but it conditions players to check in with the game daily to see if the character they want is available for sale.
Well, not really. I mean,
There are a
people know
variety of
what
dark
the
patterns
patch
related to
cycles are.
premium currency in
Maybe
games.
like the normal person does
Developers
that.
can
I don't
design
know.
their premium currency packs to be slightly too small to buy the most desirable items, requiring players to purchase more premium currency at once than they plan to. Developers can pick arbitrary exchange rates for their premium currency, so that
Thank fucking God for the EU, forcing developers to just put a button that says buy now. It's not quite that simple. But the problem with that, with the way the EU has implemented it, they don't actually so developers, I've noticed that the games that this system is already in, where you can just buy 10 rolls straight up with without converting your USD or your real money to gems, then to the roll currency, where they just skip that middle part and it's just money straight to the roll tickets. I've noticed that they've made it so doing that is more expensive than buying the gems usually, and I think that's bullshit. I think the EU needs to refine those rules a little bit more, because every time the EU does something in regards to video games, it seems pretty good. Hopefully the next step is just be like, you know what? No more of this random bullshit. If you can buy it, no more random. I'm going to talk about Overwatch for a second, since we're talking about gacha games and loot boxes and random shit. I don't know how I feel about Overwatch 2's current monetization system, because goddamn, it's expensive. It's so expensive. Every time I want to play Overwatch 2, I'm just like, oh my god, new collab, Persona 5 collab? That sounds so great. I want the Persona 5 skins. Open Overwatch 2, $40, never mind. No thank you. I don't need it that bad. I can just go play Persona 5. But then Overwatch 1 system was loot boxes. But the thing about Overwatch 1 is that I usually got what I wanted as long as I played enough. So, random's okay as long as the odds are predictable and I can I don't necessarily need to get it for free, but if I am playing your game 24 hours a day and keeping your servers active and therefore making people want to play. Why is my hair like this? Keeping people wanting to play your game, I should be rewarded for that. I'm just saying. If nobody plays your competitive hero shooter, then no one's gonna buy anything. It's just how that works.
the players can't really
I'm part
understand
of the marketing.
true cost of the item they're buying. Cheap items can be placed next to expensive items in the store to make them look like better value. Some games employ special in-game or monetization events that are time-limited or seasonal. The content and rewards are only available
Holy
for a
crap, we're not
limited
even
time
halfway through this.
Players do not want to miss out on a unique reward that may never be available again, so this limited
I hate
availability causes
FOMO.
fear of missing out, which leads to intense and anxious play during the event window. There's also a phenomenon called the endowed progress effect, which shows that if players are given a head start on a reward track, then they are far more likely to finish the rest of that track so that they don't waste the progress they have
That's
so
true.
far, even
Yeah,
though they
I
didn't
felt
even make
that.
that progress themselves. It's a bit like the sunk cost fallacy. This is why some Battle Pass schemes start with the first items already completed, or have some really easy ones that are inadvertently completed while playing. This manipulates players into committing to complete a reward track that they may not have chosen to attempt without the free bump of progress at the start. So we've gone through a bunch of different dark patterns, and some of them seem pretty user hostile. You may be wondering,
Some of them?
why would
All of
developers
them, you
pollute
mean?
their live service games with all this crap? Well, there are several answers to that question, and the first is that it works. These techniques are all highly effective. They produce the desired outcomes. They manipulate well-understood psychological principles that our human brains are vulnerable to. The second reason is
The reason why we can't have nice things is because of the vast majority of the population doesn't care about this. People will play gacha games, and if they have the means, they will buy whatever waifu they want. And if they really like her, they will spend $3,000 to C6 her or E6 her or whatever. Get all the dupes that you need because she's pretty. I know people who don't spend money on gacha games until one particular character comes out. and then suddenly they've spent $3,000 on the game, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing? You're gonna C6 this character, and yes, she's good. She'll probably be in the meta for months and months, and by C6ing her, you keep her relevant for even longer. But eventually, she won't matter. Eventually, she'll be cycled out, or she won't be strong against, or she won't be on element for the thing that you actually need to do. And then what? What did you spend $3,000 on? A number? A value in some game? That's crazy.
Players generally tolerate many of these design patterns pretty well. Have a look at the games you play and see
Gotcha,
what techniques
because
they
gotcha.
use in this video.
Yeah, exactly.
Ask yourself if these are a big enough deal that you'll quit playing the game entirely over them. Chances are you're still playing the game despite the presence of these manipulative elements. Another important reason is mindshare.
I have quit CZZ just because I didn't get a character I wanted. I think it was
if a game doesn't have all of the addictive hooks and manipulative retention mechanisms,
Astra's girlfriend,
then its players may find themselves compulsively logging into other games to complete daily tasks and forget to play this one. There are also foreign publishers. When a game releases and is popular in its home regions, publishers from other countries approach the studio and offer to localize and market the game in their region. But in order to take the risk of investing in license fees and marketing costs, the publisher is going to want to make sure the game is as sticky and lucrative as possible. The publisher dares not suggest changes to the actual game itself, as the game is already proven to be good. So the only way they have to juice the retention and monetization is through meta systems, which very easily stray into dark pattern territory. Finally, the entire games as a service.
Okay, I'm going to talk about that for a second because there are actually good examples. I hope Leslie's not watching. Leslie really likes Nikkei. So here's the thing about Nikkei. The CN servers have so much quality of life. It is a different game. It looks like the same game, but it's not. It's the the Chinese version is a better game. So I pose the question to Shift Up. The developers of Stellar Blade, they obviously know how to make good games. They obviously know how to make well-optimized games. What the fuck is going on with Global Nikkei? And why isn't it the Chinese version? The skins are cheaper. Look, okay. Oh, here's another thing. If you spend $60 on a skin in Nikkei, what the fuck? Why are you enabling this behavior?
Industry measures the value of a game as a function of its daily active user count and its retention rates. If you're making a live service game, you're only going to be able to get funding if you have a
Twitch
solid
does use a
plan
lot of
to
these
retain
principles.
your users.
I mean, lots of platforms
that plan
do.
probably
That's
ends
the
up
thing.
involving some
Is
number
that
of
the
these
stuff
dark
works?
patterns, because you have to compete against other games using these techniques. If you have a publisher or investor involved,
Actually, let's
they're
talk about
probably
that for a
going to
second.
want to see industry benchmarked retention.
Sorry, I wasn't listening to what he said in the last 10 seconds. Going to what Passion just said, Twitch uses some of these principles. That's true. If you look in my Twitch chat right now, for me earlier, it said you get drops for gifting and subscribing. If you ask me what drops do you get, I have no fucking idea. I don't know what you get. I saw a Discord symbol. I assume it's something for Discord. But I didn't put that there. Twitch did. So Twitch is saying, oh, support your streamer. If you like your streamer, you should support them. You don't need to give me money. I'm okay. But, oh, give us money, and then you get these other things for free. When you have to pay for something, it's not free. Remember that. If you had to pay for something, it's not buy one, get one, free one. Buy one, get one, free one. Yeah. Buy one, free one. If you really think about it, it's just get two for half price each. Also, I was talking to a friend about Amazon prices. Just remember that when it says if something says like this, hold on, let me get my pen out. Right? If it says something costs 900, oh, that's a G. If something says why just type, there we go. If something says 9.99, Is that a 9? Am I going crazy? Anyways, I don't care. Yeah. So if it says 9.99.99, and then it says strikes it out, $10. That is not a 99% discount, okay? This number is fake. This is the real number. This is what it always costs. Sometimes the number does go up. So when you go to your Amazon price tracker and it's like, oh, sometimes it does go up, that's just them not trying to not break the law. Because you can't say something's on sale if it's always this price. It has to go up to this price sometimes. And then it goes back down to this price most of the time, okay? Okay. Anyway, I'm sure you all knew that. I don't know why I'm talking about this.
And return from your game, and that is benchmarked against other games that are packed full of dark patterns. If you refuse to use dark patterns in your games, you're effectively competing with games that do use them,
yeah,
while operating at a disadvantage on their
That's why Sonic Rumble did it, right?
This situation
it's
really
stupid
sucks.
to not do it.
Well, by definition, a dark pattern
Like,
is
Sonic Rumble is a good
benefits
game,
the developer at the player's expense.
but them not doing
Some
that
of the techniques mentioned
is
in this
dumb,
video
financially
aren't
speaking.
entirely evil, and if clearly communicated and balanced fairly, wouldn't qualify as actual dark patterns. For example, it's
you're
pretty
right.
clear that escalating
The
login streaks are
dropping it by 1
manipulative
cent makes people
because
think it's
players
cheaper.
really want to avoid breaking
That's
that
true.
rule. But
Why
flat
does that
daily
work? I
login
have no
rewards
idea.
might be more
But it
acceptable
does.
to players
It
because
does.
the penalty
Mhm.
for not logging in is just missing 1 day of rewards. If those rewards are sufficiently generous and the game is not manipulative elsewhere, players might be happy with that system. There are certainly players who really look forward to daily bonuses or special events in their favorite games and enjoy the structure and rewards that those bring, despite the drawbacks we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Some developers argue that a little psychological nudge can enhance enjoyment of the game, for example by encouraging players via rewards to explore parts of the game they wouldn't otherwise try out. Achievement systems are a common example of this.
Yeah.
I previously talked about how time-limited events can be manipulative because they often offer exclusive rewards that require a lot of work to unlock during a narrow time period and can take advantage of your fear of missing out. This is a problem when the event involves grinding out existing content, but honestly, isn't that bad when the event consists of interesting new content?
Hold on, I'm going to address chat real fast. I give money for either one, no ads, or be funny, and that's okay. That's perfect. Those are great reasons to, like, spend money on Twitch, right? Because, like, it's for your enjoyment, and, like, making the streamer break down because they're getting all this, like, love in the form of, like, your money, which is an equation of your time, right? Because most of us get paid by the hour. That's entertainment in itself. And so that's great. But spending your money on, like, some gacha PNG, I would be here, guys, but I hate missing one because I lose progress. Yeah. I always round numbers up to the nearest dollar when So like I think most people who, like, are good savvy shoppers, right? Like, when you see $9.99, you don't think $9.99 because, one, that's longer in your head, and two, it's faster to say $10. Well, yeah, okay, that's just what I was saying. But intrinsically that is $10, right? Because you're not going to take out a $10 bill and legitimately expect your penny back. You could live without it. You do want your penny back, because, well, I do anyways, because I'm cheap. Every penny counts to me, but it's $10. Now, let's talk about what he just said. When there's time-limited events that bring new concepts or new gameplay things to the game, those are more okay. As I was saying, this is the former director or former something. He was basically the top dog, right? He's the founder of Grinding Gear Games. He ran Path of Exile, and Path of Exile does do FOMO things. They have loot boxes. They have loot boxes. They have events that happen in the game that can provide you rewards that are time limited. But here's the thing about those rewards. This is why I can forgive Path of Exile for doing this, is because, one, all the rewards are cosmetic only, and two, honestly, I don't really think that they're that nice most of the time. You can disagree, you know. The customer is always right in matters of taste. Remember that that's the whole quote. And so if anyone ever tells you the customer is always right, make sure you finish it with in matters of taste. But for the most part, like, the rewards in Path of Exile, the FOMO things, they don't matter. If you're a longtime player of Path of Exile and you saw something that came out a long time ago and you thought that looks cool, it will probably come back in some other form, and you know that because you trust GGG and you know that they're not going to fuck you like that. But most games don't operate like that. Grinding your games is the exception, not the rule.
For example, back in January of 2017, Blizzard celebrated the 20-year anniversary of Diablo 1's release by introducing a special event into Diablo 3.
Storage does cost money.
Darkening of Tristram.
That's the entry fee of the game.
Within the Diablo 3 engine.
You actually want to play Path of Exile, you gotta buy storage.
And a strict orthographic isometric protection like Diablo 1. Players got to play through this mini version of Diablo 1 with their Diablo 3 characters, and it was honestly pretty cool. Even cynical old me reinstalled Diablo 3 and had a fun time checking it out. It looks like they're still running this anniversary dungeon event annually since then. This was a very well executed example of a time.
Hold on. This is completely unrelated to what we're talking about. So one time, Grinding Gear Games, they sent out a tweet that was like congratulating Diablo 4 on releasing. Because, you know, they make ARPGs. Diablo 4 is an ARPG. And so they're like, cool, new player to the game, or new game to the landscape, yeah. And then the director of Diablo 4 from Blizzard on his main account, fucking account, was like, hey guys, you know what? It would be so cool if people started calling ARPGs Diablo likes. Can we start doing that? You know, a la like roguelites and like, you know, Souls likes. Can we call ARPGs Diablo like? What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Limited in-game event that was a net win for everyone. I have nothing to complain about that. On the other hand,
I play Pokemon Go. The only reason I continue to play, yeah, I love Pokemon Go.
A number of years ago, a fellow game director
it's such a fun game. I hate Niantic though.
He was running. He wanted to increase player activity in the gaps between expansions, so he decided to try running a double experience weekend. It was a huge success and saw way more players playing than usual. After the weekend, however, player numbers dipped down below where they were before the weekend, so they ran another double experience weekend the following weekend. You can predict where the story went. After a while, people only played on those special weekends because playing on weekdays felt far less worthwhile in comparison. The game eventually shut down. While games that overuse dark patterns alienate their users and eventually see the opposite of the good retention they were aiming for, the primary victims of dark patterns are the players themselves. Players affected by dark patterns find themselves compelled into behavior they wouldn't do
sleepy schmo.
Whether that's making purchases they hadn't planned for, logging in on days they hadn't intended to play on, grinding content they wouldn't normally choose to grind, referring friends who might not have an interest in the game, or having to set an alarm at 4 AM to tend some crops. These actions have both an impact on their day-to-day life, but also reduce their enjoyment of the actual game itself. They often lead to feelings of anxiety, fear of missing out, commitment pressure, guilt, and frustration. The scary thing is, I'm an adult in my 40s who has spent his career working in live service games. I deeply know all about these tricks and still find them affecting me far more than I'm comfortable with. Imagine what it's doing to kids who are incredibly vulnerable to the constant bombardment of gambling, compulsion, addiction, loss aversion, and anxiety.
So he just talked about how how these patterns that he's discussing with us right now, like he has a 16-minute video about this. He knows all about it. He works in the industry. He knows he's an expert. He's literally an expert, right? And they still affect him. This is like if a casino manager walked up to you and said, I have a gambling addiction. It's like, bro, how? So if they affect him, then they must affect most people, right? And I was just talking about how like gacha games don't really affect me anymore, but that I think there's a reason for that. And I think the reason is that I'm just the cheapest human being on earth, right? If I had $1 million right now, if I could just never work for the rest of my life, I'm pretty sure I would still go across the street to like whatever like the cheap food that I normally get, I would probably still get that. Because inside my brain, I cannot like force myself to buy something nice. Even on my when my birthday rolls around, I go to like this cheap buffet here. It's like $15. And then I gorge myself on meat, and that's my birthday. um but I'm definitely not immune to all of these things either. Like Stellasora comes out, and there was a part of me that's like, I really like this game, and I really want to progress my characters faster, and I almost bought the battle pass. And then the only reason I didn't, honestly, the only reason I didn't was because I had other things I was buying that month, and I was like, well, I can't budget this in because this is like the least important thing. I have to buy outfits for VR chat. Because I'm gonna start streaming, I have to like do this and that, and then I bought a new microphone, so spread a little thin. But had I not had those expenses, I might have actually bought it. I might have bought the monthly pass too.
Anxiety-inducing dark patterns that these games contain. So far in this video, I've tried to offer a relatively neutral take on the pros and cons of these game design patterns. While they're called dark patterns and have a high potential for abuse, I've explained that some of them are moderately harmless if used in a way that provides a lot of value for players. But if you're watching my channel, you probably want my actual opinion on all of this.
Oh boy,
I put a lot of thought into this area because I used to run a live service game, and I frequently had to make decisions related to what design patterns we used for meta systems, retention mechanics, and monetization. So here's my current take on this topic. First of all, I think that pretty much everything is fair game in terms of the actual design of the game itself. If a game is targeted at adults rather than children, I don't have a problem with people leaning on behavioral psychology research when designing the actual gameplay of the game and its reward systems within the game. Make your games fun, make them compelling, make people want to play them and want to return to them for their own merits. Your job as a game designer is to make a really fun game, and understanding how the human brain works is important for that. Players becoming invested in your game and deeply caring about their progression is a good thing.
Zenless Zone Zero is a great game. Wuthering Waves is a great game. Stellasora is a great game. Genshin Impact's an okay game. For the amount of content it offers and the cost it is to actually play the game, technically, it's an amazing game. It's just the added monetization systems that fuck them up. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's all that messes up those games. But all the Hoyo games that exist right now, they've made Hoyoverse so much money that they built their own nuclear reactor to power their data centers. Think about that. Think about how much money that costs.
It's why people play games. But I draw the line at deploying dark patterns because they are related to retention systems, meta progression, and monetization. When I'm playing a game, I don't want to have a fear of missing out that makes me feel like I have to play frantically during time-limited events. I don't want to have to log into the game every single day to avoid breaking some stupid streak. I don't want to have to do some minimum amount of activity every day, otherwise I miss out on bonuses. I don't want to have to spam my friends to remind them to log in, otherwise I miss out on rewards. I hate all of this.
I've done this to Raven.
When I was growing up, games were designed to be fun, not manipulative. They didn't have literal behavioral scientists and psychologists on staff trying to rewire my brain. Look, I love the economic and competitive aspects of live service online games, but I just don't find myself enjoying most modern ones. Whenever I see daily tasks, seasonal events, and all the exclusivity FOMO, I just lose all hope that I'll actually enjoy playing the game, because I know that it'll be playing me. If you're a developer and really want to add retention mechanisms without straying too deeply into dark patterns, what can you do? Well, first of all, you should try to make your game as fun as possible on its own merits, before relying on external meta mechanics to try to add engagement. Once you've done this, it's a matter of transparency, fairness, and respect for your players. Transparently communicate how things work and what players have to do in plain language. Avoid hidden gotchas that players are unaware of. For example, if you're using loot boxes, clearly communicate their drop rates. Try to ensure that optional challenges reward effort rather than attendance. Make sure that time-limited events last long enough for real-life schedules. Carefully consider whether reward should be exclusive or whether you should...
Sorry, I meant to pause sooner. The loot box drop rate thing. So, I don't remember exactly, but I believe the reason why there is now law in Japan. I'm not sure about Korea. I think there's also law in China about this, where the loot box or like gacha rates need to be published and need to be honest, is because of Grand Blue Fantasy. We were talking about this game earlier, and there's something that happened called Monkey Gate. I'm pretty sure. So in Grand Blue Fantasy, you have these zodiac characters. These characters come out on the year of their zodiac sign. So there was a dog girl, a rooster girl, and then actually no, it was a ram girl, and then I think it was a dog girl, and then it was the monkey girl. The monkey girl comes out, people start rolling for her, and then people start realizing, hey, wait a minute, these rates aren't right. Why is everyone getting it at this rate and not the advertised 3% rate, where I think that has a double chance of her dropping, something like that. I forget exactly how Grand Blue works. So what ends up happening is people are pissed. People are mad because they have the people whale in this game enough to be able to prove that your statistical like featured odds are lies. And that happened. I think this is what happened. I'm not sure. You can quote me if you know the original story. Feel free to type it out in chat. But I'm pretty sure what happened was people brought it to the Japanese parliament because side games was just that big that it was like an issue, and then they were like, okay, now you have to publish the rates, and if you lie, fines up the butt. So that's why most games will just publish the rates and the rates will be true, because in a lot of the operating countries, especially the ones they are most profitable in, have laws about this. Remember something along those lines? Yeah, it's something like that. There was some gacha controversy where an advertised unit's rates were not as advertised, and then the government had to step in because it was that much of a problem. And I'm pretty sure it was Monkey Gate.
Of the event return with the same rewards later, giving players a chance to get them if they miss out this time. It's worth thinking about the concept of time-agnostic gaming. Try not to care about when a player plays your game. Some people can't game every day, but have lots of time available on the weekends. It's unfair if the progress they make is slower than someone who manages
and sometimes
to
I just don't want to play every day.
Some type of login reward. So that's been a tour through the dangerous world of dark patterns. As game developers, we have an obligation to think very carefully before we employ strategies like
Speaking of odds being funky, fun fact, there is a gacha game called Silver and Blood in which there was a glitch that resulted in 4 hours every single pull was a guaranteed triple. I heard about this. Didn't they like put the game down and then rolled back people's accounts for that? What is that the game I'm thinking of? Did that happen? I'm pretty sure that's what it was. That is so deeply funny to me. I think there's another game. I forget what it's called. It's now dead because the game was total butt. But what ended up happening one day was that all the players were able to get like tons and tons of free currency that was not intended to be handed out, right? And so, of course, the players like, oh my god, free rolls. Well, you expect the developer to do one of two things, right? One of two things. One, they say, all right, keep it. Can't do anything about it now. Or they do the other thing, which is you shut the game down, you roll it back to the previous day. If anyone bought anything, you just restore their purchase, and then you just go on with your life, right? No, they did the third option. The third option is they put everyone's accounts into debt. They put people's accounts into debt. So if you're free to play and you got this currency, you're never gonna roll ever again because they gave so much. And so what ended up happening was a month later, no one was buying anything because everyone's in debt. So guess what? Guess the fuck what? No one wants to buy anything, so they quit your game. Good job, so smart. Good job. What a way to kill your game. This is the only time I've ever seen that. 99% sure it's the thing. Yeah. I think I saw that the characters were very hot. They're very hot. Yeah, I thought about playing just because they were hot. I got burnt out by Genshin because the dailies weren't fun and it was tiresome to care about getting a new character because you could barely afford a chance to get it. Yeah, so the thing about Hoyo games, okay, if you are a Hoyo game and if you currently enjoy Hoyo games but you don't really know how to approach these games free to play, I will give you the quick example. I will give you the quick explanation. They all work the same way, except each game has like a different amount of currency per month, so you have to figure that out. 90 rolls, you get an SSR or a 5-star, whatever the fuck it's called. Okay? At about 75 rolls, that's where soft pity starts. The odds basically double as you get closer. It's very unlikely you actually hit 90. If you do hit 90, if you have hit 90 rolls in a Hoyo gacha game, don't cross the street anymore. Your luck is so bad. But you just if you're playing these games, you basically get 1 pity per patch. So you have to time it so that you will hard pity on the character that you want. So you need to decide when you're rolling, do I care if I get this character? If the answer is no, just don't roll. That's it. That's how you play Hoyo games. But that means at the worst, you're only getting 1 new character every other patch. That's like every 12 weeks. You're gonna get bored. Just don't play Hoyo games. Just don't play gacha games. Just stop. Stop it. Get some help. I'm gonna play Stellasora after stream today.
These. Push back and make sure that the reason you're adding something is because it's actually adding more fun, rather than because it'll artificially create more retention or juice some other metric. As gamers,
I have more things to say.
You also have an obligation to push back.
Shoot.
If you want more game in your games and less...
Okay, so here's another thing. A lot of games that have monetization systems, they will create problems so that you buy something. Some games are the exception to this. For example, an exception to this would be Final Fantasy XIV. If you play Final Fantasy XIV and you've ever hit the inventory button and opened your inventory, you probably think to yourself, gosh, I sure do wish I had more inventory. I sure do wish I could just buy more inventory. And you might say to me, oh, but Velvet, you can buy the Chocobo bag. It's $5 a month. And I'd tell you, cool. You can only buy 1 of those. It's a subscription, and that's barely a fix. So to me, if I were a developer and I wanted to sell you inventory slots, I would just sell you inventory slots. You want another bag? $20. And in Final Fantasy XIV, I bet you people would buy it. But they don't add that. Is it because they're good developers? No. It's because they have no way of coding more inventory slots because that game's spaghetti code is potato. I don't know that for sure. But that's just my assumption. I'm just saying if Square Enix is happy to sell you NFTs and cryptocurrency, they're probably happy to sell you a digital bag with 20 slots. Which, by the way, 20 slots is nothing in that game. Could have a... Raven, I know you're there. Raven had full retainers at one point. That's hundreds of inventory slots. Still not enough for them. Still not enough.
Bullshit. Make sure that you communicate this to developers. Your money and attention are precious. Spend them wisely. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much, and see you next time.
You got better because I yelled at you? So that was...
A few years ago, a friend of mine carried a laptop.
Okay, so this was Chris Wilson. This was his video. I'm gonna go ahead and paste the link in the chat. If you like the video, yeah, you know what? Share it with your friends. If you know someone who